is here. And you know what I did? I went, no! I want to go back. My family's hurt. They need me. And then silence again, like being in a tunnel. Then sometime later, again, I heard it with a greater urgency. Turn around. The light is here. And I went, no! I want to go back. My family's hurt. They need me. And silence again. Then all of a sudden, I shot out of that tunnel, like being shot out of a cannon, seeing the entire earth in my full periphery. And the earth is getting smaller and smaller this fast. I'm leaving the earth behind. And I watched the earth until it literally became smaller than a golf ball. And then I hear a sound. Now I'm still in a sitting position watching the earth going backwards through the heavens. I died going backwards, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't backsliding, okay? I was back moving through the heavens. I heard a sound up about this angle. I looked, and I was passing the moon, and I could see the entire moon in my periphery. I looked into the craters of the moon as it just went by that fast. From that time, I passed planets. I knew I passed under planets. I passed to the right, to the left of planets. I passed over planets. And I always knew what direction to look because each planet had a distinctive and individual sound. And I was thoroughly enjoying passing through the heavens, looking at these planets. I was up in Flagstaff, Arizona after that, a couple of years later, sharing that testimony in a church. And I started to explain the Milky Way. And first I started to explain Saturn. I didn't know it was Saturn. And I explained this planet that had two beautiful ice rings around it. And I was describing that it looked like glacial ice, diamonds sparkling, two of them, around that beautiful planet as I quickly went by it. It was off to my right. And, I described it in great detail. And then I kept talking about planets, and I talked about this massive storm that I passed, that I thought it would just literally turn me to ash. That storm was almost as big as a planet, and it was just orangish fire, and it was just moving through the heavens so fast, and I passed it, and I didn't even feel the heat of it. That amazed me, because I was so alarmed at first when I saw it, and the heavens were so beautiful. Every planet was a different color. Every planet had its own distinctive color. When all of a sudden I burst into what I call the Milky Way, and the reason I call it the Milky Way, we used to have a vehicle that we would sit in the back seat of the station wagon when we first moved out to Paradise Valley. You come off a hard surface road, an asphalt road, onto a dust road. You're sitting in the back seat. The sun is shining down this angle on your lap in the window. There's a few on the hard surface road, a few little specks of dust that you can watch kind of drifting around in there, right? But when you hit that dusty road, all of a sudden there are all kinds of speckles of dust that are illuminated. That is the difference between passing individual planets and going into the Milky Way. All of a sudden, I was going through so many planets, I couldn't begin to even stop and look at one much time at all. Every one of them was a different color. They were so beautiful, and they were all around me. I was passing through these massive planets that were so numerous I couldn't even begin to count. I wouldn't even have tried to count, but they were so beautiful. I was totally carried away watching these planets. Just in every direction I would look, I could see planets as I'm passing them. And all of a sudden, that quick, I was back in my body. I heard somebody say, he's breathing. I heard somebody say, he's got pulse. I couldn't feel it. I didn't know who they were working on. I thought they were working on someone else. And then I heard this lady say, honey, go to the travel home and get a towel and get ice cubes, quick. And so I heard somebody running away. I heard another person running. and I heard a two-way radio. It was a forest ranger. He and the witness were the ones that would try to do CPR on me. I heard him trying to get on the two-way radio, trying to get somebody in. Come in, please. This is an emergency. Come in. And I hear the man running back, and I can feel this cool feeling on my forehead. It feels good. I can feel my eyes blinking, but when he put that on my forehead, I thought my eyes started bleeding because I couldn't feel my tongue, I couldn't feel my mouth. I could hear, but I couldn't feel any of my body. I was paralyzed from here down. And all I could feel was my eyes blinking and hear. And I could feel this springing action up here on my head, going back to the back of my head, and it would be a springing, and it would spring back and forth like this. Those are the three things I could feel. And then all of a sudden, I hear this two-way radio crackling in. All right, we read you. Go ahead. And this man says, I'm at the scene of an accident. It's a van. It's a one-vehicle accident. The woman and the 8 children are fine, but we don't know about the man. And I thought, that's me. Judith and the children are okay. Wow, I'm not going to the hospital. Lord, whatever's wrong with me, you can put it back on. If my head's missing, you can put it back on. I'm not going to the hospital. I'm going to that wedding. And that was what I prayed. And all of a sudden, it was like 2 red-hot cutting torches you'd cut steel with hit me in each temple. And they began moving down ever so slowly. And as it got down in here, I could feel blood running into my mouth, warm blood, because they were plugging the hole. That bar had gone down into my sinus cavity, in my head. And the warm blood was running into my mouth. And when it come down in here, the fire, my vision began to come in. And this lady was holding my face with 2 hands. She had a white blouse on, Mrs. Whitman, and dark brown hair. And I'm looking right up at her, and she says, don't move, don't move. Your neck could be broken. We're going to get help. But don't move, please, don't move. And I said, I'm okay. The fire went all down out my toes. I felt great. I had no pain whatsoever. The tingling sensation went away. I said, I'm fine. I don't need an ambulance. And as this man is evidently hearing me talk and all, and saying to me, don't move, they keep saying, what is your location? What is your location? And he's not answering them. And I'm saying, I don't need an ambulance. I don't want to go to the hospital. Let go of me. I want to get up. Well, the poor lady, her husband's holding this towel on my head, and he's got a hand on my chest and the towel on my head like this, and she's holding on to my cheeks. And all of a sudden, she throws her hands up. She looks in the direction of the forest ranger and says, what are we going to do? He says he's all right. He says he wants to get up. I look over that way. I lift my hand and I point at him and I said, I'm all right, sir. I don't want an ambulance. And I'm looking at the poor guy, and they keep saying, what is your location? He's standing outside the truck with that microphone in his hand. He's looking at me. He's looking at his radio. And he says, let him up. I could believe anything at this point. Cancel on that. 10-4 out. Throws the microphone in on the seat. And he comes over there. I get up on my feet, and he says, are you sure you're all right? Well, when he said that, the blood was coming into my mouth, and I said, Lord, just in my mind, wherever this blood is coming from, I know you got to stop that, because I'm not going to keep swallowing this blood. You got to stop that blood flow, or they won't take no for an answer. And it stopped. I swallowed a couple of times, and it was all gone. I wasn't going to spit it out. If they saw me spitting blood, they wouldn't have taken no for an answer. And I got on my feet, held the towel on my head, walked around looking at my children, and they were